Louisiana versus all y'all. Jarrett Roser here with an already familiar face, even in that 2026 class. Jahkeem Stewart, the standout defensive lineman from St. Augustine down in New Orleans. He's wearing that SA hat. We're going to talk a little bit about what's so special about that place. Jahkeem, how's everything going for you? 2/3 of the way through June right now.
Everything going good. We're just attacking every day by day, getting better, 1% better every day with the team, preparing for the season.
No doubt. And I want to ask you certainly some about the off-season work and travel schedule and all those things, but connected with you a little bit right after I hit the 2,600 follower mark on the Louisiana versus all y'all Instagram, which is obviously an important number for St. Aug, the address over there at AP Turo, a number that folks around the city and even the state know well. What is so special about St. Aug that, I mean, was a place that you and a lot of guys gravitated toward to be the next generation of student athletes, but also a place that folks that have been through there stay connected their entire lives? What do you feel like makes it that special place?
I feel that St. Augustine is a special place for me and other black young kids because it develops you to become a young man, and you don't know who you're sitting in class with. So if you just stay connected with all your classmates, they can help you along the way in life. So I feel St. Aug, it could develop you into a better man, and it could open up a lot of doors that you didn't know.
When did you first kind of hear about or start to learn about some of that dynamic and that tradition and realize that as a place, as a place to be and a place that you felt like you could develop not only as a young football player, but a young man at a high level?
When I stepped foot on campus, everyone telling me St. Aug is not good, but when I really looked into it, like St. Aug is the place for your young black kids to go. It's an all boys school, but no distraction for no female. If you just stay in your head focused and just bond with everybody, like life gonna get easier.
Still early on in your high school career, but how do you feel that connection to the tradition, to the past generations of Purple Knights? What are ways that the current group of guys has that connection start to build? How much do you hear from alumni, on a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis, and any of those sort of things?
Just going in airports, like just going around. I was in Walmart one day, and a man stopped me, and he said, "You go to St. Augustine?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Rise, sons." I'm just getting used to that stuff, But it's great just keep bonding with my big brothers, and I love it. It's a lot of love.
You've been enjoying a lot of love out on the recruiting trail too, transitioning to some of, what the last few weeks have looked like for you since wrapping up spring and getting a chance to get out on the road a little bit. What does that schedule look like? I know I saw you over at LSU about a week and a half ago. You've got Bama on the immediate horizon. Take me through your June schedule a little bit. What's been the latest?
We got Bama this Saturday, but I think we're going to UGA this Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been getting tight lately. Because I ain't really attack it in early June when everybody else attacked it. I just stayed focused and got better with my team. And once I feel that my team is getting much better, then I can start attacking the college campus out there last year.
How do you feel like about where y'all are team-wise, just your progress right now this offseason? We've talked a little bit each month about just kind of the high expectations that y'all have this fall as we get toward kind of the midway point of the summer. How do you feel about the progress?
We're going to do great. I feel if we just stay disciplined, I feel we're going to go all the way. But I just can't feel that. We just got to keep on and just keep our connection, just stay disciplined.
So you mentioned Georgia this week, Bama this week. We saw you at LSU. Were there other stops in June that I've missed in addition to the Baton Rouge trip so far?
No, sir. That was my first one.
Got you. Okay, so really just getting started and kind of ramping it up now. How'd you feel about the way that trip up to BR?
I got Oregon in July too.
Oregon in July.
It was yes, sir.
Good deal.
It was great. It was great just bonding with the new D-line coach. I loved it, and I wish to get more work with him, but he seemed like he loved me, and I'm just keep developing to the person I want to become.
Yeah. When we talked the past few months. You mentioned how eager you were to get out there against varsity competition this fall. Do those camp settings help kind of feed that hunger a little bit, some little doses of getting a chance to go compete against older guys? Because you were out there certainly showing what you were doing, what you could do. Watch you with a little push pull, throwing around a rising senior. How do those days help you in terms of just feeding that competitive drive and getting some work in as you continue to develop?
A lot. I've been doing it since 2021 with Sean Washington and all them. So just competing against other guys is like it's nothing with me now. Every time me and Sean practice, it was nothing but compete, you know. So every time I got on the road with him and older guys like Coach Clapper with older guys, he didn't want me to go to him because he seen a lot, you know. So then everything paid off. So once I go get a chance to go against with the guys now, it's nothing new. You're gonna get the same result.
Are there moments where you surprise yourself at all at this point, or it's the expectation, and so whatever you're doing, that's what you expect to do each time out?
It don't surprise me anymore. Like I'm a dominant person, and if I feel I don't dominate, then I'm wrong with myself.
As you get to some of these schools, for you, again, you're still a relatively young guy early on in your high school process, but stuff started for you so early on the college front that you're getting to places for a second time, a third time, and beyond. As you go back to a place like an LSU that you'd been before, like a Bama that you've been before, et cetera, having already gotten kind of that initial view out of the way, what are you looking for in return trips when you get a chance to go back and see a place again, visit with coaches again? What are things you're looking for, questions you're asking, anything along those lines?
I'm looking for them to see that I am changing my body type. I'm looking for them to see that I want to look like a college kid when I step foot on campus. I'm looking for them to see that I've been putting in hard work and that to satisfy me to just start working ever since I got the office.
Good deal. How do you balance kind of enjoying it, making sure that you're appreciating these moments versus knowing that there's a lot of expectations, knowing that it's business in a lot of ways? How do you kind of juggle that seriousness and maturity with embracing it and enjoying it and making sure you're kind of smelling the roses as you go through the recruiting process?
St. Aug help me with that type of stuff too. And just keep working. And my family support me, telling me don't get too big headed with all the stuff that's coming, you know, because it can take it away from me quick. So every time that I step on the football field, like I just take everything out on there. So I don't really need to get too big headed. You just stay focused.
We talked some about relationships with the older St. Aug players, with the staff. You mentioned family and everything. You had a chance to cross paths when you were at LSU with Mason Smith, who's a guy that you've obviously known a long time as well. What are some of those relationships like? Older players that are already off to the college level that you mentioned, growing up working against Sean Washington as well. Those relationships with guys that are already at these places where you're trying to get in 3 or 4 years and you're kind of choosing between down the road. What do guys like Mason or Sean tell you? What do those relationships mean to a young guy coming up?
They tell me a lot of knowledge, so they tell me literally the small stuff. Like they tell me it's a lot of discipline when you get to college. It's gonna be hard, but that's life. Life is hard. So if you can't push yourself when times get hard, then I don't think football is the sport for you. So every time I ask questions about football, they tell me it's hard, but it's not now. So I'm here, so I give up now. But they tell me the main thing is school.
Yeah, man, all sounds great. It sounds like you're getting some good advice, certainly from some of those older guys, both coming through St. Aug as well as other places around the city and state off to the next level. And Jahkeem, as always, a pleasure, and certainly appreciate you taking the time to kind of update us, let us know what St. Aug means to you and kind of where you're at with this summer heading into sophomore year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Again, he's Jahkeem Stewart, fantastic 2026 defensive lineman from St. Augustine down in New Orleans, planning for a big fall with the Purple Knights down there, a talented team from that really good 2024 senior group all the way down through the class ranks. And for Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser.